My name is Bethany Pascudo, and I'm a staff litigation lawyer at the Advocacy Center for the Elderly. We generally practice in areas that directly impact seniors, and that often includes a lot of financial abuse and scams.
My name is Marty Govan. I'm a lawyer with a firm in Oshawa. We do a lot of small claims court related litigation where we see a lot of different scams, frauds, predatory contracts targeting elderly persons and others, especially against their home equity.
The Advocacy Center for the Elderly gets a lot of calls from seniors who have been scammed by door-to-door salespeople, and also concerns about mortgage fraud, equity strips, and investment scams as well.
At Govan Lansing LLP, we get a lot of claims where the clients that we represent are defendants to small claims court actions, where they're the victims of a very long-running fraud. They've had a door-to-door contract put on their homes 10 or 15 years ago. Then suddenly somebody shows up to enforce it later on, or even pretends to be a legal representative when they're not, or have a law firm when they don't have a law firm, and increase the amounts of debts that these victims allegedly owe them.
In our experience at ACE, we are seeing an increase in volume of scams, and with the use of technology, some increase in complexity as well, whether that's the use of voice recognition tools, or hacking of phones and devices. We have seen an uptick in those type of scams.
Yeah, at our firm, we've noticed that there is an increase in fraud over time. One of the things we've noticed is that there are victims who have never had an email account in their life, and yet there are documents showing up in lawsuits against them, which basically show that a signature was given by an email address associated with this person, that they have no idea who created that email address. So there's certainly a lot of electronic related fraud now. The one that I'm seeing more often now is where for lack of a better term, white knight shows up to try to save an elderly person from a predatory contract or a fraudulent contract, but the white knight themselves is actually associated with the scam. And so what they're doing is they're actually attempting to encourage the victim to get a mortgage on their home to pay out the scam of an underlying contract, whether it's for a home security system or HVAC or something else that was incredibly overpriced, because the original fraudulent company knows that if it ever went to court, they would not be able to actually get a judgment against the person. So what they're doing is that they're actually encouraging the person to go to a mortgage broker and take out a line of credit or home equity mortgage and pay that off to the scammer while pretending to be their advocate.
Seeing a very high volume of door-to-door sales scams, often for HVAC equipment or renovations. We were hoping that we would see a decrease with various consumer protection legislation put in place, but unfortunately those volumes have remained high. We're also hearing a lot about Amazon scams, where people get contacted by someone pretending to be from Amazon, pretending to have deposited money into their account and having them send it back, as well as I would kind of generally call them romance or gift card scams in one area. We recently had somebody who thought she was sending money to Keanu Reeves, and was sending money via gift cards. So it's kind of a combination between a name, a face you might know or recognize as familiar to you, but using gift cards to send that person. At ACE, we have received some calls from people who had received calls from a grandchild purporting to be in jail or in prison or with the police in some way, and it was an urgent issue and they needed to send them money. Unfortunately, we don't get contacted by people very frequently because of a lot of the shame and the stigma associated with that particular type of scam. I mean, I personally have received calls allegedly from the CRA, and I just hang up. But I understand that some people have been taken advantage of and given their personal information over, which allows, of course, once people have your SIN number, allows them to either access various accounts or maybe borrow money in your name or create obligations in your name. The other area that's actually been rising recently as it relates specifically to seniors are investment scams, which involve borrowing money against the equity in your home, so taking out a mortgage and investing those proceeds with a third party who turns out to be a scam artist. I think there's a couple of issues. One, it's a lack of reporting, and the second is the delay in reporting. With the lack of reporting, a lot of people who have been the victims of scam are embarrassed, ashamed. There's stigma associated with it. They feel responsible, that they should have done a better job protecting themselves. They don't want people to know, especially their family members, and so they don't tell anyone about it because they're looking to hide it. The other is the delay in reporting, is that often these in the more sophisticated scams, they're set up to not be recognized for a long period of time, years often. We saw that a lot in the mortgage fraud scams, where the mortgage was placed on and it matured in a year, so it was only a year later that the person realized that someone had put a mortgage on their home, and maybe even a few more months down the road when enforcement steps had been taken. So by the time that the scam is reported, the perpetrators are long gone. So we have both of those issues, and both detrimentally impact the victims of scams.